Hello, once again, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of AIW's The Card is Going to Change. And before we get into this week's podcast, of course, a thank you to our sponsors that help us bring the show to you for free on whichever podcast platform you choose to listen. Thanks to our good friends at Smokin' Jay's Barbecue. If you're ever in the Massillon area or you need an event catered, check out Smokin' Jay's at smokin_Jays, Jays, BBQ on all social media to get more information on what they have and what they can do, and also shoot them a message and have a conversation about what Brock and his partners there at Smokin' Jay's can do for you. The food is fantastic. I know that they were working on some meatless options for people. So if that is of interest to you, you can inquire about that as well. And thanks to the merger between IWTV and Smart Mark Video, watching AIW has never been easier. If you want to purchase DVDs, you're into that physical media, or you want to own an MP4, a digital download of past AIW shows, go to smartmarkvideo.com. It's the entire AIW catalog, all available to you there. And if you prefer streaming services, for $9.99, sign up for IWTV at independentwrestling.tv. Use the code ABSOLUTE so they know that we sent you. And not only can you watch a rotating archive of AIW shows, but countless other independent wrestling promotions as well, along with past interviews and specialty shows. I know the Masked Wrestler is coming back. That's a popular series for them. So a lot of fun there on IWTV. And with that, we roll into this week's episode, this being the week of Wrestlerave 2 at the Winchester Tavern in Lakewood, Ohio. Joined this week, special guest, a bone collector, Dominic Guarini, rolling in here. And as always, AIW owner John Thorne. And my name is Steve Guy, your moderator of sorts. Gentlemen, it's been a few weeks. Welcome back. Dom, it's probably been a few months since you've been on here.
Yeah,
welcome on back.
Been a little bit. Thanks for having me, Steve.
Yeah. Before, of course, we get into everything, it is a hard sell week, but we got to start off with the shout out segment and lead things off. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to kick things off. Shout out to our guy, Eddie Kingston, who has his very first official action figure being released, and we've seen it now. A really exciting time for Eddie. Also, at the time of this recording, we're recording on a Sunday. Eddie will be facing off, or by the time you listen to this, has already faced off one-on-one with Chris Jericho, a guy that many consider to be one of the GOATs of professional wrestling on AEW's Revolution pay-per-view. So big week for Eddie Kingston, our guy.
Big week. Yeah, it's been a couple weeks. We had a little extended layoff there. I know, Steve, you were busy with some projects, some comedy projects.
Yeah.
I also it was weird. I also got just your regular run of the mill cold, but it just destroyed me, kicked my ass, just because you're just so concerned with COVID, you kind of forget that just regular seasonal colds and sicknesses come around, you know what I mean? And man, it had me down for
took you out
2 weeks almost. I mean, I was just fucking dead. So that's what I've been dealing with. Shout out to Nicholson, the original OG Scoop Daddy. He tried to get me out to go to the Cavs game about a week ago, but I was just down and out with this fucking sinus infection / cold thing going on.
Shout out to, in our time off, shout out to Botchamania. John Thorne, we made an appearance on Botchamania just through our commentary. We didn't botch anything,
the podcast made it on there.
The podcast made it on there. Got some messages from that time. A popular shout out on the show from time to time is Nick Sanka, and Nick and his younger brother popped into the Flatiron, visited me before they went to go watch some All-Star Weekend stuff a few weeks ago. NBA All-Star game was in Cleveland. And so that was cool to see them. Shout out to the Odeon, hosted Shaq's 50th birthday party during that weekend. That's a cool deal, man.
I don't know if Shaq showed up, though.
No, it was just a party was planned and no Shaq.
I don't know if Shaq showed up. I know 50 Cent was in there. I don't know if Shaq was.
50 was in the house, man.
I saw pictures of 50 in there. And I didn't see any pictures of Shaq.
Oh, man.
I'll tell you what I did, though, All-Star Weekend. I'll tell you what I did.
Yeah?
Shout out to Dustin Alberti, merch man Dustin. He took me to the celebrity game. And then we were, cracking some beers, having a good time at the Woolstein Center for the celebrity game. We decided to buy tickets to go see a live Nelly concert in front of 100 people. Like, man, AIW draws better than Nelly in Cleveland. It was quite the sight to see. But we thought it would be funny to go see Nelly for fucking $20. And we did. And let me tell you, man, Nelly, that dude has some fucking hits. Some fucking hits.
He does, yeah.
You don't think about it, but Nelly.
Shout out to Nelly.
Nelly has a shit ton of hits.
Country Grammar?
Yeah, shout out to Country Grammar.
So Dustin and I.
Shout out to
Dustin and I had a good time.
Yeah, that's nice. What was your did you have a favorite in the celebrity game?
So I think Myles Garrett, I mean, I don't know, he was the most exciting celebrity to see. I don't know. It was what it was. It wasn't anything, crazy.
Yeah, he had some monster blocks. It's pretty sweet. And a couple monster dunks.
Let's get into it. Let's get into the pod. It's hard sell. Hard sell Monday, baby.
Boy, our technology just sucks today on a windy day. Hard sell. Here we go. So we've got Wrestlerave 2, Big Dan Champion debuting for AIW. A long time coming. The whole thing with Dan really started when
before we even get into the hard before we even get into the hard sell,
yeah,
we didn't even talk about like how crazy successful the last Odeon show was.
We didn't. It's been that long. It was great. Huge turnout. Sex Ferguson did his thing. I'm still not sure what that whole segment was. We had the return of Eddie Only, and it also involved Swoggle and Sex Ferguson. And that was a sight to behold, but there were so many people there to behold that sight. And that was great. We had a Danhausen pop up.
Word behold a lot.
Yeah. Too many uses of that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have to break down the entire show, but it is now streaming. The replay is now streaming on IWTV. I believe the MP4 and DVD are available on smartmarkvideo.com. Very happy with how things turned out. I mean, great turnout for the Odeon. The best since the comeback from the pandemic. So, it seemed, all systems are go once again. Let's hope we can keep the momentum going. This Thursday at the Winchester.
Yeah, this Thursday at the Winchester. All right, so to the Winchester, Big Dan Champion. He was the first person advertised for Wrestlerave, and there are those who really follow indie wrestling and love AIW have been wanting him to pop up for several times, and no doubt this has to do with his insane ability to chug a beer. So who better to book for Wrestlerave? But when did this all start? Was this last year when he was down in Florida and you sent guys some money, Thorne?
That's probably the first time I ever spoke to Dan Champion, I think, in any capacity. I just Venmo'd him a couple $100 and told him to get drunk at WrestleMania weekend last year and buy some people some beers, which he did. So, that's the benefit of these Winchester events is, we can try out different things and do things and bring new people in. And, oh my God, I'm coughing still. Justin Summers is going to have my head on a platter. It's just, that's one of those things, and that's what we're trying to do with these Winchester events. And a Dan Champion, we figured, this was a good time to try it out. He likes to party. Why don't we bring him to the rave, the Wrestlerave?
Yeah, what's perfect is the 4-way match that he's into. Speaking of guys that like to party, because Chase Oliver and Riley Rose are in there, not known for their partying ways, but they are very good.
Well, Riley.
I don't know. I've seen Riley rocking it at the dive bar quite a bit at the dive bar after parties.
That's true. He gets down at the dive bar.
You ever see Riley trying to grind up with some of those gals on the dance floor at the after party? He usually has some kind of matching button-up short sleeve and shorts combination outfit going on.
Yeah, he's got like, moves.
Something like it's usually like I don't know, like a outfit full like that just has bananas on it or something.
That's true. He's got some good outfits. Man.
It's something like that.
Yeah. I think he does have a banana
shirts or like watermelons or something. Like he's big into like fruit, I guess.
But what I was alluding to, in terms of rivaling Big Dan Champion and his drinking, you have Lucky 13 also in this match. And folks, if you've ever listened to this podcast, go back. You have to go back a few years because there's a great Lucky 13 story.
I was actually telling that story last night to Avery Good, who has known Dan and Lucky for years, and he had never heard the story. And he looked at me and goes, "Oh, that's a terrible idea. What was Lucky thinking?"
Yeah, it was. If I remember right, it was before they faced the Headhunters, right?
Yes.
And he was just asleep, just passed out, basically, up until the match.
That's correct, because I believe drinking with little Guido all morning is what did him in.
He was going going shots for Guido's beers, and I don't think he thought Guido was the drinker he was. Maybe.
Yeah,
it's a big mistake.
Terrible mistake.
No, you don't go drink for drink with Uncle Guido. That's just a terrible decision. So we'll see how this plays out. I imagine that. Not to give anything away, but there's got to be some sort of drinking moment in this match, wouldn't you think?
Not necessarily.
No, you don't think so?
Not necessarily. They might just save the drinking for the after party with the shooters,
That's right. Hey, if you come to the show, stick around for the after party hosted by the Rip City Shooters, the Intense Icon Joshua Bishop, and Maserati Wes Barkley. Those guys, they know how to
New haircut on Wes Barkley. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, he's not happy about that. He was unhappy about getting the locks trimmed by that dastardly Matt Cardona. Unbelievable. And Brian Myers, Chelsea Green showed up. Whole big thing. Watch the stream, folks. So now the shooters have back to their matching haircuts pretty much, or not pretty much, but they both had the long curly locks and now they've been trimmed up a little bit.
Let's hope Wes Barkley's superpowers are not in his long locks like Philly Collins' superpowers were in his long locks. After he trimmed that haircut up, changed his ways.
Yeah.
After Philly got that Shawn Michaels Survivor Series haircut.
Then it became a bad guy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He changes his superpowers were in his long locks.
He cut off all the good vibes. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, come on, Steve. We got to bring the energy up here on this podcast.
Well, hey, you're talking about PME. PME is going to defend the titles against Bulking Season. We got a tag team title match. People always want to see titles defended. You're going to see it on this night. PME taking on Bulking Season. Chuck Stone and Artie Mack have say what you will about Artie Mack, but he and Chuck Stone have earned this title shot. I would say they've been performing.
What is it you would say about Artie Mack? I want to.
I don't say anything about Artie Mack. He's a character.
I give him all the shit in the world, but Arthur MacArthur, one of the hardest workers in the room, always jumping in the car, always working his hardest, helping out with the U-Haul booking, everything. So you know what? He's him and Chuck, they've been on a tear. They've gotten back all the losses that they had, when they first started teaming. I think they're ready. This is gonna be a good one.
I think so too. I think this is going to be, I mean, a lot of hard hitting stuff going on in this one right here. I see Chuck Stone being thrown on top of Philly and Marino, trying to squash them. I love when Chuck Stone does basically like earthquake and typhoon style moves. Those are my favorite. Tugboat, if you will.
Arthur MacArthur, massive earthquake fan.
Is he really?
Dude, he bought an earthquake t-shirt from WWEshop.com.
Why not be a fan of Earthquake? It's great.
John Tenta,
baby. Speaking of titles on the line, Derek did want me to give in the shout out segment. I missed it. Shout out to the Duke. He's been working hard. It is tax season, but he is doubling down on his hard work this week, folks. Not only taking care of your taxes, but putting the golden boot on the line against Kaplan. And Wolf, is this the Duke's toughest challenge yet?
Oh, by a million miles.
I mean,
what do you mean? Of course.
Well, that's that's to
Kaplan is on the run. Kaplan's on the run of his life right now.
He really is. How long can that run last? And will that run include a new boot?
I would be shocked if it did not.
You think the Vegas odds are high on Kaplan here?
Oh yeah, he's about fucking plus 8,000.
Plus 8,000. So those are pretty good odds. The Duke, a betting man, no doubt he's gonna take those odds and bet on himself, as he does. Also, we got Eddie Only, who came back. Eddie Only, I told you he was in the segment at our Odeon show. We only got to see Eddie Only talk and then basically get beat up. So Wrestlerave, we get to see Eddie Only versus TKD. And if you guys remember, the original Wrestlerave at the Winchester is kind of one of the special Eddie Only and AIW moments. That's when Eddie Only's legend at AIW really came alive, as he was in that tag match. Was a 6-person tag match and had some fun interactions with Session Moth on that night. And on this night, he's got TKD, who no stranger to having interesting opponents, like a variety of opponents. Eddie Only, no Tom Lawler, different kind of match, but TKD going to be up for the challenge, I think.
Dom, you got any input on that?
Yeah.
It should be interesting. I mean, Eddie's had some time off, not only from AIW, but just wrestling in general. So this is like one of probably his first 5 or so matches back. TKD has been a little preoccupied. Congratulations to our very own TKD on becoming a flight attendant for Frontier, I believe, right?
Yeah, I don't remember who it was for, but
I think it's from. Yeah, I think it's from.
Yeah, so congratulations to him. So I know he's been, really busy with that. So it should be an interesting matchup. Two guys who have had some time off. Looking to get back in there and get in the win column.
Is this promo photo has Eddie Only with a cigarette in his mouth? You think, is he going to wrestle that way?
Could. And hopefully if he does, he doesn't get the Winchester in trouble for smoking indoors.
He's got a.
Do you remember that when you used to be able to smoke indoors?
Oh yeah, my parents loved that.
When I first started bartending years ago, it was when you could still smoke indoors.
Yeah, I remember when I was like first turning 21, people were still smoking in bar.
Yeah, we used to have these really loud, obnoxious smoke eaters sitting in the bar to try to collect them. It's just ventilation to just push it all outside, and they were so loud and obnoxious. And but you didn't think anything of it back then in terms of like your health and being around it. And then I remember when the smoking stopped, and I was bartending. And then for the first time I went out of state and I went into a bar that had smoking, I was like, man, the air does just feel so much thicker than what I am now newly accustomed to without smoke. I didn't think that I would notice that much of a difference, but crazy times back then. And everybody always had smoking and non-smoking sections as if it made a difference because it was all under one roof.
Right now, like you could just tell, like as a non-smoker, you could tell if like somebody smoked a cigarette. You know what I mean? Like, it's so blatantly obvious now.
Yeah. I used to go home and my clothes would all smell like cigarette smoke. Oof. Good time. But anyway, back to Wrestlerave. Dominic Guarini, you're here, so let's talk about it. You have had these thorns in your side in terms of Brian Carson, Casey Carrington. Ethan Wright was there, but it looks like you've plucked that thorn. And on this night at Wrestlerave, thank you.
Good pun there.
Appreciate that. Brian Carson, you get him one-on-one at Wrestlerave.
Well, yeah, I guess the idea is take the whatever academy they want to call themselves out one by one. I use my good friend Filthy Tom. Shout out to Filthy Tom to help take out Ethan Wright last show. So now, I'll go ahead and look to take out, Brian this show. This is Brian's first singles match probably in a while. So I'm interested to see how Brian handles that. I'm also interested to just see how Brian, who wrestles probably twice a month now, if he's lucky, handles, me getting back in there. I feel fully ready, and I feel like I'm back from my break, and I feel like I'm hitting a good stride right now. So I'm interested to see how he can handle that. And overall, just kind of see how he's still there. Brian was one of the first Academy graduates. He wrestled Johnny. He wrestled.
You think there's a little animosity there coming from him?
Yeah, I for sure do. Brian was one of those guys that came through that first class of AIW students, and I was probably the third, I would say. And there's got to be a little animosity towards maybe my successes, me running the school, things like that. Like, there's definitely a little sour grapes there from Brian. So we'll see how that all goes come Thursday night.
Oh, come on. Just wanted to throw that in there. Dom, I want to say this about you, Dominic Guarini. You made a post either today or yesterday about just working your ass off once you realized you were going to get back into the ring, and the work that you've put in to get into the shape that you currently are in, and no doubt continuing to put in the work.
Yeah.
Man, good for you, man. Pump.
What are you doing?
Let's get right back into it.
Let's give the people some tips.
Two shout outs for sure for me on this. One is actually on this podcast. So it's Thorn. John and I had a discussion right at the beginning of the year. And it was very much of like, hey, like, you've got the second chance. Let's take it seriously. And he got with me on that. And then, my tag partner, in other promotions, Kevin Koo, and I kind of talked, and he has had a good body transformation as well. So I wanted to see what he was doing. So the big thing that I started was I pay for an app called RP Strength. It's available in the App Store and the Google Play Store. You get 2 weeks for free, and then it's $15 a month. And essentially what you do is it makes an 8-week diet plan for you. It's very easy to do because what you do is you're able to base your entire diet off of your sleep schedule, your workouts intensity, and what your goal is. So some people might use this app to put weight on. Some people might use this app to lose weight like I did. And then, like I said, it kind of all gets based off of that. So that's the first step of it. The second step was then, creating a diet that made sense and something that I could do every week. And the big thing with that was then going to the grocery store every Sunday, buying groceries and spending 3-4 hours every Sunday meal prepping, which has been probably the hardest thing, especially with the increasing wrestling schedule that I've had. But it's been very rewarding. The last part of this is going to the gym every day. I will be the first to admit I'm not the most massive fan of working out. I like doing like in-ring stuff. I like doing jiu-jitsu. I like doing things like that. But like lifting weights, doing cardio has never been my bag. But it's been one of those things that I've just made myself like. The other good thing about doing so much cardio has been the ability to watch a lot more wrestling, watch more of our shows, watch more indie shows all around. So mainly my goal has been, when I started this diet, was to adhere to the diet 100%. On top of adhering to the diet 100%, burn a minimum of 1,500 calories a day.
Wow.
So
there you go.
it's been a big thing. So that's been the big thing. So I just finished the diet for right now for the 8 weeks. So I'm going to take about a week off, keep mostly on the same stuff, but enjoy some of the meals that I haven't had a chance to enjoy. And then probably the week after next, I'll get right back on it and kind of keep on with it.
What's a meal that you're going to go enjoy right now?
So coming from the Canton area, we have some good pizza places down here that are kind of exclusive. Krause's Pizza. I think I might get that tonight while I watch Revolution.
Okay. Krause's Pizza. Good to know. What kind of pizza?
Probably they do like the crumbly sausage, so a little bit of the crumbly sausage, and maybe they have the pepperonis that curl up, so get a little pepperoni and sausage.
That's my go-to. That's a go-to pizza.
Yeah, that's a good. Keep it simple, but when people do simple right, it tastes so good. Hard to beat. Dominic Green, you might have just changed somebody's life with that app and throwing out your tips, man. It would have to make you feel special.
AIW student Donhausen has been following the app, and I think he's down like 6 pounds, so I know he's feeling good. So I encourage everybody to look into the stuff like this.
Not only, because of your medical situation and all that, I think, like, honestly, and I'm speaking for myself, but I think just the overall depression of like the entire pandemic has been awful for everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I know it's been awful for me. It's been awful for several people within, the AIW organization, because like, it was just, it's like, what's the point of doing anything? You know what I mean? You can't do anything. And then, you're just like, people were confined to their houses. And, I know some people that are still working from home. You know what I mean? Like, there's just been so much kind of collateral damage to the pandemic, as far as I think just general like health and being in shape for a lot of people. So I think, probably a lot of people are listening and probably thinking like, wow, you know what I mean? Especially over these like last 2 weeks where it seems like COVID has just like totally disappeared from the world, like there's no more masks. There's all this other stuff going on. I think probably a lot of people are hoping, hey, when am I gonna get back, back on a routine again? And, maybe after hearing what you're doing, they'll start today.
Speaking of the masks, they were big talks on my flights this weekend that the flight masks are going to be gone in about a week and a half.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that would be the last place. I mean, even my job, who has been really like super on the, kind of, I guess, leading the charge, so to speak, as far as like downtown Cleveland businesses, they have had a mask mandate forever, and they just lifted the mask mandate finally last Monday. So an airplane would be probably the last place where I would be required to wear a mask.
Yeah, they were saying, the Southwest flight crew today was saying, when they were giving their announcements, that we're almost at the end of the tunnel. And then when I was on a Delta flight on Friday, they had said that they were likely going to revisit it in 2 weeks, and there was a very good chance that they were going to lift those regulations.
With all this said, if you feel comfortable wearing a mask, by all means,
yes, please do.
I feel comfortable with the vaccine and the booster. You know what I mean? Like, everyone has their own form of comfort. I personally can't wait to get rid of having to wear a mask. I've abided by everything.
Yep.
I've gotten all my shots. You know what I mean? Like, but there are people that still want to wear a mask, and that's totally fine too. Like, I think that everyone, hopefully, at this point, we can stop politicizing all of this shit, and just like, you do what you want to do, I'll do what I want to do, and like, let's just move on. Because, and I don't know if it's because it's so nice out today in Cleveland, but man, it just feels like we are on the verge of just a whole new, world, so to speak, heading into spring and summer here.
Speaking of all of that, We probably should get confirmation, I guess, again from Winchester, even though it looks like we're at the end here. We got the light at the end of the tunnel. It is their venue, not our rules, but in the past we've had to do vax cards and or negative tests. Do we know if that's still the case? We need to let people know as they attend the show this week.
I've not heard anything different, you know what I mean? But I don't know. You know, it seems like everywhere is pretty much, you know, really kind of revving back on all of that stuff. I can reach out, but as of now, I've not been told anything has changed there.
Okay, so stick to your guns, folks, and those are your expectations as of now. So let's get back to the matches here. We talk about the Winchester being a great opportunity to have some debuts. Big Dan Champion, of course, one of them we've already talked about. And then we have a couple others. We have Alice Crowley, who's going to be taking on Megan Myers, and this is not somebody I have any clue much about her. I'm assuming at least Dom probably does. He's the guy that gets around.
This was my booking.
Before you get into it, I just wanted to reiterate, this is kind of the Winchester shows are kind of Dom's little bit of training ground. You know, Dom has kind of taken on what I guess most people would call like the assistant booker, so to speak, title in old school territory type days. He kind of, you know, puts together ideas, and then, you know, he's kind of like the first draft, and I come in and I polish things up and kind of rearrange a lot of things, and I think from there Dom kind of learns kind of the like next level of how to put things together. But these Winchester shows especially, I kind of give Dom a little bit more of a, you know, a leash, so to speak, to go out and do certain things and book new people, because that's really, you know, that's really the point of these Winchester shows, is to look at new talent, feature kind of talent that doesn't get featured all the time, and, you know, mix in a couple of our, you know, regular mainstay roster members. So with that said, I will turn it over to Dom to discuss this particular match.
Yes. So it came down a little later, and we had kind of, you and I discussed wanting to get Meg on the card, and it was a process to try to find a female. So I kind of went through who I remember having seen through my travels, as well as it came down to who was within driving distance mixed with were they coming with anybody else. So Alice Crowley is 19 years old. She has been wrestling since she was 16, mainly in the Indianapolis, Louisville area. She was trained by Billy Rock, I believe, and she's had quite a bit of experience out of Mid-South, Shimmer, kind of a little bit of everything. So I figured it would be the perfect chance to kind of integrate her onto a card and see how she can do, as well as, you know, it's up to us to, you know, see how Meg Myers is progressing, and getting her more matches is what's going to make her a better wrestler. You and Biggins always told me, Thorne, when we started, that pro wrestling is learned in the ring as opposed to in school. You can teach somebody a perfect sequence in a wrestling school, but it doesn't mean anything if it isn't done in front of a crowd. You don't see how they react.
Yeah, makes sense there. So what's,
and it's also better to see, you know, like, I don't have time to watch a lot of stuff. You know, I don't watch a lot of other indies. But, you know, Dom is kind of out there in the trenches, you know, and he sees people. So for me, you know, if there's an opportunity to where I can just see them in the AIW environment, that's a lot better for me than to watch a YouTube match or something like that, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I've always made this joke to some people, especially over the last couple of years, that I'm like your JR in terms of I'm the senior vice president of talent relations. So like if somebody's coming for a tryout, like they usually go through me to kind of put them in front of you.
Yeah, I mean, I just, you know, anymore, like I just don't have I don't have the time with, how things have progressed in my real life career. It's just, it's really hard to be so locked in, and that's, to be fair, that's kind of how it always was, when Biggins was around. Biggins watched everything, paid attention to everything, was on every message board, was, watching every hot indie at the time, always kind of had his pulse on things. So it's always been kind of that good balance within AIW. I just don't have, there's not enough hours in the day to watch the things that we get emailed. You know what I mean? Like, we get emailed multiple times a day, and it's just like, it's much easier if, Dom sees somebody and says, oh, hey, this person would fit into what we're doing. Or when we did the New Talent Initiative, that is obviously a whole different thing as well.
Yeah, which obviously I've had people ask about that, and it's something that you and I have looked into. It's got to work out timing wise. More so, it's got to be one of those things where we likely do it on an Akron date. And this first Akron date was bad for me because I am traveling to Canada the night before for a show, and then I believe in May it's not going to work out either. So we'd like to do one of those by the end of the year for sure. It'll just come later in the year.
All right, so then we go to our other debut. So then there's folks, Dom's got his finger on the pulse. He's at places. But we still get wrestlers who come to AIW, help with setup, do things, and then the Winchester show, again, serves as a little bit of a reward. Hey, you've been helping out. Some of the folks here backstage seem to really like you, know who you are from other shows that you've been on. We're going to throw you a bone here. And that happens on this night. Members only, taking on Original Sins, who Thorne has mentioned on social media knows nothing about.
Yeah,
but here we go.
It's not a lie.
So
I mean, I literally know nothing about them.
So this spot was originally supposed to go to the Von Englands. They had a scheduling conflict, and I knew right away that I wanted to reward the Original Sins. These two guys have been coming, and they've been setting the ring up. They've been helping with whatever we need for the last, I think, 4 or so months. And to me, this is a discussion I had with John. There has to be a light at the end of the tunnel for these guys. We have to give them an opportunity to show what they can do. And it's very similar to how Thorne kind of contextualizes the students. I'm going to give them a chance to sink or swim. If they go out on Thursday and they kill it, then we will reassess, and hopefully these guys will be seeing more Winchester dates. If they go out and they lay an egg, then they're probably headed back to the ring crew. But you know what? That's entirely on them and their opponents and members only here, to go out on Thursday and really steal the show.
Where did these guys roll in from, Dom?
They roll in from Indianapolis, the Indianapolis area. So I was able to put them and Alice Crowley together. So it was kind of 2 birds with 1 stone. I know that they wrestled the Bitcoin Boys a couple years ago on a show that I got the Bitcoin Boys booked on. But at that time, I think they had maybe had 3 matches. The Bitcoin Boys had 3 or 4 matches. So there's been a lot of growth between them. The Sins have, been very cool with a lot of our kids. They have worked a lot of the same shows via the pandemic era and stuff. So like the Bitcoin Boys have worked them. I think Bulking Season has worked them. Members Only, in a galaxy far, far away has worked them. So there's familiarity there, and all of them, put good words in for the Original Sins. So it was something I felt completely comfortable in booking with.
All right. Sounds good to me. You're the man here when it comes to that. Am I missing any? I think that's it in terms of matches. That's all we've announced. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
There's more. Yeah, there's
a couple more.
Yeah. Casey Carrington will be taking on the Weirdster.
Called in my heavy muscle for Casey Carrington on this one.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Last time we saw the Weirdster at the Winchester pulled so far the upset of the year, rolling up Big Twan Tucker.
Yeah, this is the Winchester is going to be where the Weirdster is probably featured the most. We also have still yet to be announced 9 to 5 versus Derek and Ziggy.
Mm-hmm.
And
the production will be there. Okay.
Bobby Orlando versus Isaiah Broner.
Bobby Orlando, another guy that's been jumping in the cars, coming in, setting up, helping out. So this one's a very tall task for him, but we'll see if the goatest of all time is up for it.
Bobby Orlando really fits in. Oh, go ahead, John.
Well, sometimes, you know what I mean? That's just bad luck of the draw. That's, that's what's open on the board.
I'll tell you what, though, could pull the upset of the year. You never know.
Right. He is, I would say probably a little bit more experienced than Isaiah Broner. I will give him that. Isaiah Broner, though, is a fucking, he's a supernova right now. You know what I mean? This guy's exploding.
Supernova.
He's exploding right now.
What Isaiah Broner lacks in experience, he makes up for in being Isaiah Broner. So there is that. Bobby Orlando is a guy that's endeared himself to the crowd at the last Winchester show, but I also think that his personality fits very well into Wrestlerave in terms of just conceptually.
And, he's been making a name for himself. He's regularly featured on Beyond. He's been doing some stuff with Barstool Sports. So he's making a name for himself out of the Creative Pro School, trained by our good friend Brian Myers. So certainly a lot of upside to Bobby Orlando, no doubt.
But Isaiah Broner, man, I think the crowd's going to be a little bit torn on this one. They loved Bobby Orlando, but there's no denying the chemistry or, just the love affair that the AIW crowd has with Isaiah Broner right now, the supernova, as you guys certainly have described him. Let's talk a little bit about the Wrestlerave, the aesthetics, so to speak. John Thorne, the glow sticks are coming, are they not?
Oh, yeah. I got about 800 glow sticks sitting on my kitchen table right now.
And I know...
And various other glowy things.
There will be other glowy things, not just glow sticks. I know one young man, AIW fan, even though maybe you're not a fan of his, John Thorne. Ed from Pond Van Dam, never been to the Wrestlerave before, want to know if he needed a dress like it was a rave. Hell yeah, man. This is Wrestlerave. You wear your rave gear, whoever you are, folks.
Well, you certainly got that right. I am not a fan of his.
Yeah. My sources indicated that that would probably be accurate. So,
and I did tell, speaking of Pod Van Dam, I did tell old Ronald Two Legs, who will be on the 1s and 2s again at the Winchester, that I would like a playlist that sounds like it is a 2003 meth lab. When meth was a designer drug and not a hillbilly drug. I wanted to, when it was the drug of the youth in the early 2000s. You know what I mean? I wanted to be like Brittany Murphy and Spun in the Winchester on Thursday.
R.I.P. Brittany Murphy. Yeah, so a lot of glowy things. Dress accordingly, folks. Feel free to dress the part. I think a lot of neon colors. I'm imagining a bunch of fishnet action. I don't know what else.
And we are
bringing a hula hoop.
We're giving all of the glowy things away completely for free at the door. Invested quite a bit. I think there's some, glow in the dark sunglasses. There are all sorts of different things. Some glow in the dark balls. I think I have down there. All kinds of stuff. Tickets though. I would like if we could sell about 50 more tickets between now and Thursday. Tickets are, unusually light for the Winchester and for the lineup that we're putting together. Nowhere near what it was in January for Ether. So I would like to, if we can get about 50 more tickets sold between now and Thursday, I think that will be a acceptable crowd attendance.
This is one of those events, folks, that I think you're just going to want to attend and be there, not just for the card and the lineup, but this is like this is one of those things where we get close to it's a party, but hey, we're also going to have wrestling there. We'll blend it a little bit with all the extra that's going on into this in terms of what you get as fans.
Yeah, we're trying to make a fun environment. It's trying to be an atmosphere. So come on out and, hang out with us. I think it should be fun. It's a fun lineup. We're going to try to, like I said, we're going to have rave music going on, lots of glowy things passed out. The Rip City Shooters will be hosting the after party. We're going to try to keep it going until the Winchester kicks us out on Thursday night. Big Dan Champion will be there. Kaplan's going to be there. I'd imagine there's going to be some beer chugging going on after the event. So it should be a fun time, all around. And maybe Kaplan will be drinking those beers out of the Golden Boot.
He might. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And hey, we're going to be streaming this on IWTV. So the more of you that come into attendance, then the cooler this is all going to look on IWTV as well. So we really need you to show up and show out.
Tickets only $20.
There you go.
We are making these Winchester shows much more affordable than the premium ticket that say with the premium seating at the Odeon and the Tadmore Shrine and things like that. First come, first serve. All tickets $20. We're going to have limited chairs available for the people that arrive early, and we're going to go from there.
Shop.aiwrestling.com.
Hard sell it. We're hard selling it. Like I said, if we could sell 50 tickets, I'll be extremely happy with that. If we can sell 50 more tickets.
Dom Greeny, are you going to have any glowy ring attire or all business taking on Brian Carson?
So I have 2 sets of new gear coming, but I don't know if they'll be done in time. One would be green, so it would make sense, but I doubt it will be here in time. I will likely get it for my Crockett Cup date the week after. But I'll wear some neon-y shoes. I've got a couple pairs of neon shoes that I think will look good in the attire. And if Thorne tosses me a glow stick, I'll wear a glow stick out. Why not?
All right. Dom Greeny getting down for the Wrestlerave. Love to hear it. You heard it here first, folks, on The Card Is Going to Change. Dom Greeny loves him a Wrestlerave. There you go. Should we get to some questions from the Discord and other fans here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it. Let's see. We'll start with Twitter. We only have one question on Twitter. Has Steve Guy thought any more about being a manager in AIW?
Is that from A-Rose?
It is from Dead Evil Ash on Twitter. I don't know who that is.
Well, Steve, you're the man of the hour now. Answer the question.
I've always thought about being a manager, but I've said this many times. It's while it's something I want to do and I enjoy doing commentary, the Winchester shows give me the opportunity to do commentary because I can be right there ringside, so I don't have to rush around. I'm not far away, so that kind of satisfies that. But manager would be fun, being somebody's mouthpiece. But I am, AIW is a team effort. So I do what is necessary and needed for the team to get everything going. So right now that's still ring announcing. And part of that is also because Pedro handles the finances and everything so well. We need him to be that role. Everybody, we know our roles. We do well at it. If the time ever came, sure, be somebody's mouthpiece. That'd be a great time. I'd love it, but
speaking of commentary, shout out to Nathan Zagira from the Browns organization who stopped by and jumped on some commentary at the last Odeon show in February. Wanted to try his hand at it, and we threw him in there, and he did extremely well.
He did, yeah. You expect that, the guy's got that not necessarily wrestling commentary, but he's got that broadcaster background. Did a good job. Definitely fun to have him on there. All right, from the Discord, here we go. Question 1. Already know some of this answer. We've talked about it before, but I'll read the question. How important was Kikutaro in the process of booking Japanese talent in the past? And who was the in-between on getting Suzuki to be booked for the 22nd? I will say we've talked about Kikutaro previously on here. He was very crucial in that process. John Thorne, you've touched on that before, but specifically here, what's your in-between on getting Suzuki?
So Kikutaro was very, instrumental, obviously, in helping, especially when he was located in the States. Unfortunately, he is no longer in the States, so it is a little bit more difficult to, communicate with him. He had because sometimes he would text me from a Japanese number, sometimes he would text me from an American phone number. So I've not really heard from him since the pandemic. But for Suzuki, I went directly through New Japan office. I've been in communication with the New Japan office for a few years, and things just have never lined up for whatever reason. And it just, it just finally it finally happened. I was, the price, the price tag is pretty steep. I'll say that. But I look at it as, trying to grow that relationship with New Japan. You're obviously Suzuki is a legend, but coming through on that, I think will maybe make them realize, we're a little bit more serious when, we inquire. So this is just kind of the first step in kind of, creaking that door open a little bit. But it was directly through the New Japan office.
Does having Tom Lawler regularly on your show as a guy that is, more part of the NJPW fold now with the Strong, does that help the credibility at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think they even look at that.
Yeah, from my discussions with Tom, they really kind of treat the Japanese office and this kind of more quasi-American office completely differently.
Okay. All right. Question here from one of our friends that handle photography. And before I read this question, again, we love the photos that you all come up with. Just want to know, you'll know that. Why can't we use our flash at the Odeon? Is it AIW, Smart Mark, or the Odeon, or all of the above? And I think I could probably.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. I really have no idea about that.
It's more of, well, so it's a couple things. It is a little bit of a Smart Mark thing, and with the flashes going, and then you got the ringside camera person, they can find that distracting. So there's an issue there. That was a whole thing in the past. I think it was even specifically may have been Gary who asked that the people not do it. He preferred it. But then also the other side of it is for the performers. You come to the Odeon, surrounding the ring and everything, it is a bit darker. I know our fans love that atmosphere. It feels very grungy, indie rock feel, like that's what we have going on there at the Odeon. And the fans love that atmosphere. They become more engaged. But so the flashes can be also distracting in terms of performers. I've had multiple performers mention stuff about that. Dom, I'm sure you can speak to whether or not it bothers you, but there's some people who, it just got a little excessive. You'd have 5-6 flashes going off at once. If you get a guy on the top rope, man, about to do some sort of big spot.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's like, this isn't WrestleMania in the Sky Dome where there's a lot of distance between us. The fans are right on top of us, so that stuff does that. Also, like, from my time in doing some photography and stuff, sometimes the actual flash washes out the pictures, so they're not as good as kind of like that dark, dingy background with the natural lighting that we have above the ring. So, but yeah, the proximity of the fans to us makes it much more difficult.
There you go. That's the big answer there. Moving right along. Oh boy, I'll get to that one in a second. You guys aren't ready for that question. Any thought of running another Bloodsport event, or was it the perfect storm of running the night before a UFC pay-per-view?
Well, I think our branding was a little bit hijacked, but
yeah.
That's a story for another day. But I think it was just the perfect storm, really, because UFC was in Cleveland and we were able to kind of latch onto that. And, it just made sense, and we were able to get a lot of members of the media to show up. Ariel Helwani was there, John Pollock, all sorts of different people
Esther.
that were in town.
Esther
Lynn, TJ Wilson was in the house, Tyson Kidd, all sorts of people were in
Frank
the
the
house.
Clown and Noel.
Yeah.
So it just kind of made sense. But now, you know what I mean? Even though we did that first, now if we did AIW Bloodsport 2, everyone would be like, oh, you guys are ripping it off. You know what I mean? So it's just, one of those things.
Yeah, we'd have to look for another Van Damme movie or something like that.
Best of the best, dude.
That's a good one. But that's an old CZW title, so we get going after that too. Yeah. I think also another thing that makes Bloodsport a teensy bit harder was that one of the big things that we had on that first Bloodsport was a lot of like MMA influenced people, and a lot of those people aren't available now, or they don't necessarily like. There are full on shows now like dedicated towards more of like a shoot style type thing. So I think that Tom's a normal roster member. I'm a normal roster member, and the other MMA kind of crossovers kind of aren't there anymore. Obviously, Shayna being gone, the other guy that we booked that wasn't all that inclusive of us. Guys like that. I'm not saying we wouldn't bring Dan Severn back, but it's one of those guys that's been in here quite a few times. So I don't know. It'd be something that would have to find the right guy, right, Thorne, the right MMA inspired name.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. It just made sense at the time. I just don't know that it would make sense again.
Nah, same.
Oh man, if only we had a student with an MMA background. Other than would be great, but oh well, we don't. Next question: when are we getting another razor sharp match on an AIW show? I love the follow up. I know I won't be ready regardless of when it's announced, but still curious.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The Razor Man. I haven't seen him posted about the pink drink. He gives me some great messages and stuff, but we gotta know the Razor Man's serious. He was really dialed in. Come go for broke, but I haven't seen him as much. I mean, we'd love to get the Razor Man in there, but he's gotta earn the merits.
That's fair. That's fair. Thorne, I'll just take your I don't know as the answer. That's perfect. Next question. Since it is Women's Achievement Month, that is this month, March. Mount Rushmore of women wrestlers.
Well, since it's Women's Achievement Month, I don't want to discredit any of the women that have ever participated in an AIW ring. So I don't really want to answer that question.
What about of all time, though? No.
I mean, there's a ton of incredibly talented women that have performed for AIW over the years. It would be hard to just narrow it down to 4, honestly. So I'm just gonna not do it. Sorry, I'm not gonna answer that one.
I mean, yeah, that's a fair assessment too, because we've had there are some legendary women wrestlers who passed through AIW during we're going in the 17th year of AIW. So early on there were, and there are obviously people who are wrestling on television now who have passed through, and even someone, I'm not saying I'm throwing her on, I'm just throwing it as an example. We've had Mercedes Martinez on at this point. So it's like, where do you go on that? That's really hard to, you'd have to lay down some specific parameters, I think, to really even try to do that. Are they people who change the game for women wrestlers? Is it just about ability? Is, bringing different things to the forefront? Too much thought to go into that one, A-Rose. And to John's point, don't want to leave anybody out. So people have feelings, and we've gotten in trouble with hurting feelings on this thing before from even members of the office chat, but not mentioning their names. So
still paying for that Christmas special.
Still paying for the Christmas special. Yeah, exactly. It's always A-Rose that tries to get us in trouble with these things. It's like, no matter how hard we try, and bring nice things for people. Just mention one not thing. If John Thorne, oh man, I already know the answer to this one. And I think we've talked about it on here before, but maybe not. Maybe it was just in the Discord you talked about it. If John Thorne got inducted into the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame, who would he choose to put him in?
I would say no, I don't want to participate in that.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
I think Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame is silly. Like, nobody has ownership over independent wrestling. Therefore, like unless it's like a board of like 100 independent wrestling promoters that like, and it's not just like some guy saying, "Hey, this is a person." You know what I mean? Like, it's silly.
Yeah, there should be members of multiple.
It's not like a vote. It's not like a board of directors that vote on who goes into the Independent Wrestling Hall of Fame. It's like one person's opinion, and like I don't think anybody has ownership over independent wrestling, so it's silly. It's silly to me, you know. Like I just I get, you know, the people that did it probably felt really good about it, but I don't give a shit about any sort of recognition at all. Like that's just not a thing that I care about.
I don't know if you guys saw this story, and it was shared in the Discord after I asked it, so hopefully you had a chance to look. Last night there was a fan incident at a Detroit show. Have we had any similar incidents where untrained people show up at an event and try to talk their way onto an event?
I mean, not recently, but I mean, I know specifically like in the early 2000s, there were a lot of Undertaker and Kane's third brother that would pop around at indie shows and try to get in that way. But I mean, I don't know. Like, I think wrestling has pretty much evolved so much beyond that. Like, that sort of thing isn't going to happen at an AIW event or any sort of respected independent, I don't think. I think that's, you know, there are plenty of indies that do allow stuff like that, and you don't hear anything about them, and they exist in their own little bubbles where anybody can show up and be a wrestler. There's plenty in Cleveland like that, and I'm sure there's plenty like that in every city. But no, I don't think that's never really happened in any sort of serious manner at an AIW event at all. I do remember in like 2005 though, some like 5'4" guy trying to tell me that he was Kane and Undertaker's third brother.
Well, and I think this goes back to what we were talking about earlier in terms of booking the Winchester shows. You know, there is a process set up at AIW in particular now where this would not happen presently or in the future. You know, there's a whole vetting process. Not only are you being made aware of people, and then you might do your research, but you've got Dom. Dom is, you know, nobody new is really going to get booked if Dominic Guarini doesn't necessarily know who they are or have seen them perform. So there's that, and Dom's going to then run it by you. So there's this whole thing. It's not like somebody could just walk in and be unknown and talk his way onto the show, because there's also so many other people who are going to get those opportunities ahead of time that are there. You know, it's very rare that if somebody is coming in and starting to do, let's say, ring crew, that somebody wouldn't know who that person is. I don't think that's ever happened where somebody's, you know, just coming to start doing ring crew and nobody there knows who they are. And even so, that person wouldn't just be thrown on to a show without the final two people, and Dom and John, not knowing who the heck.
I mean, I think there's so many lines of defense in an AIW event that would never get that far.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like I've seen said video that we're talking about, and it very much looks like it was almost like the promotion put this guy up to it. And like, no offense, and John and I have had this talk, like, to us, that's just like Bush League indie bullshit. And like, our fans expect a lot more out of us than that. Like,
who gives a
the 10 seconds of viral fame is not worth it to make your company look lower level and shindy.
Yeah, like who gives a fuck about embarrassing this guy in front of 30 people? Like, I don't know. Like, it can be handled. That's the one thing that I do hate about, like especially like the lower level local independent wrestling shit is just like this, like, I don't know, like they're the ones that think they are like so important, you know what I mean? And like they like got off on like embarrassing this guy in the middle of the ring or whatever. He could have very easily just been like asked to leave, and it's over. Like, but it's like, hey, we're for the fucking business, everybody, like fucking brotherhood, fucking this fucking mark, try to come into our fucking territory. Like, it's just such fucking like nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, who gives a fuck? Just say, hey, man, get out of your underwear and put some pants on, and go stand in the go in the crowd or have a nice day. You know what I mean? Like, they did some whole thing where it's like to embarrass the guy, and like it's always the people that are fucking shouldn't even really be in the business to begin with that are like the ones that are like the big fucking gatekeepers for the boys, and they're gonna tag all these fucking other shitty wrestlers on Facebook. Look what we did for the business, brother. Gives a fuck? Like, honestly, who gives a fuck? Like, just say, hey, man, please leave. You're not supposed to be here. Like, I don't know. Like, just act like a fucking adult.
What's the official position on a War Games type show and another Lethal Lottery? Is that coming back?
I don't know. I mean, it's logistics. You know what I mean? You need a big venue if you want to have 2 rings and 2 steel cages, and then first you need the venue, then you got to find the other ring, then you got to get the cage. You know what I mean? So it's really just a logistics thing.
Yeah, and on to Thorne's venue thing, the reason for years the WWE didn't run War Games is the floor layout for War Games is so rough because it costs 2 to 3 times as much money, and you usually can sell half as many tickets because the rings and the cages take up so much space.
That's a fair point there. Lethal Lottery, no thoughts on that? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, probably a Winchester or something,
Okay.
like, or, potentially Jail at Weekend. I mean, pre-pandemic, Weird Body presented, instead of doing, we always had some kind of sort of day show for the Jail at Weekend, and Weird Body, the last time we had a Jail at, we did the Chandler Biggins tag tournament. Weird Body had suggested doing the Biggins Bowl, the Saturday afternoon show of J-Lit. So, that's something that's, still kind of on the back burner from when we get J-Lit squared away for this year. And we kind of, figure out all those makeup dates that we're finally going to do from 2020. So it's certainly, I would say probably there'll be some sort of Battle Bowl, Lethal Lottery sort of thing probably at some point this year.
All right. For Steve Guy, which person on the roster would do best on a reality dating show if chosen? I feel like I've had to answer this before. One of the obvious ones is probably like a Maserati Wes Barkley, Josh Bishop. I mean, the shooters in general would be money on a dating show, just because of their personalities.
Let's get Josh Bishop on Love Is Blind season 3.
Yeah, in my book, you're missing the best person we could cast onto one of these dating shows.
Are you going to say Kaplan? Kaplan, yeah. I was going to say Kaplan would be money. Even I'll tell you what, even the Duke on a dating show would be some form of entertainment.
Man, I'd love to see Arthur MacArthur on one too, just to see if he keeps his 1920 shtick going, or if he really leans into being himself.
If he breaks on there. She's currently taken, but Jocelyn would be great on a reality dating show. She's got a very dynamic personality when you talk to her, and man, she would be so funny because she would just not take any shit from other people, because they all have to live in a house, like the Bachelor or the Bachelorette. And she would not take any drama or bullshit from the other the other contestants in the house, and I just think that she'd be hilarious to watch on something like that. Or I feel like PB probably wants to be on a reality dating show, but I mean, I don't know if he's playing the saxophone, maybe. But
Jesus Christ, with the saxophone.
He's got to play the saxophone, and he's got to talk a little bit. He can't be worried about getting that chapstick over the whole time. Say some words. But yeah, I would say Kaplan and Jocelyn, maybe my top two picks on there. Let's see. Overall experience. How has my overall experience been when hosting wrestlers coming into town initially and now? I don't really host as many now, because they're all on to bigger things and on television. But fine, I really just hosted people that I became friends with, and a couple times. Well, Levi, because doesn't take that horse and buggy all the way back late at night. Levi's crashing my place. It's still
Levi might be the most in-demand independent wrestler here soon with these gas prices.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah, he's a great house guest. I love taking Levi to places for lunch because people don't know what to do when an Amish man just rolls in. It's great. Speaking of reality dating show contestants, any chance of Brickster returning, or is that proverbial ship sailed?
Dude, like, nobody knows what happened. Like, he was booked in September and thought it was a joke and didn't come. So I don't know. I've not talked to him really.
He posted that, he was done with he was done with wrestling in general. So, for all, from what we can tell, he's retired. He hung up the boots. He's found success in other things that he's doing, and it's great for him. We love Brickster, but yeah, that's more of a Brick thing than an AIW thing. I think the ship has sailed when it comes to wrestling for Brickster as of now. So he has said. I'm not going to read the last part of this question so it doesn't get anybody in trouble. But apart from AIW, what is your favorite indie?
I mean, to be honest, like I kind of touched on it earlier. I don't really watch any other indies. I mean, I know that sounds kind of shallow or hard to believe, but I truly don't. I mean, earlier in AIW when, things were new and growing, obviously paid attention to, Chikara and CZW and IW Mid-South and all those kind of, hip indies. But now I really don't follow anything. I don't care about anything. You know what I mean? It's like the business has changed so much. Our business has changed so much too. You know what I mean? It's like so much is based on people are coming out of the school as opposed to, booking somebody because they were on PWG. You know what I mean? Like, it's just everything is fundamentally changed about how we run AIW. So I don't really need to watch any other indies.
Dom, you're a guy that gets out to other indies. You got favorite places you like to visit?
Obviously, like, I'm an adopted child of the Southern wrestling scene, so I help out with Southern Underground Pro, so I love being there. I get brought up down to like every action show, and I'm a big fan of action. I only did one show for them before the pandemic, but Prestige is awesome, and I'm hoping to be back there later this year. Just get the West Coast more in general. And those are definitely like probably three of my tops right now. I just recently did Enjoy over in Pittsburgh, and they were awesome. So I've got a couple more dates coming up for them this year. And overall, it's a lot of fun right now. A lot of good chances for us young guys and gals to work and gain that good experience.
I will give a shout out to Enjoy. I mean, I don't really know that much about it, but during the pandemic, when things were like totally shut down in Ohio and Pennsylvania was open, the promoter did reach out about potentially hosting an AIW event because they had not yet gotten off the ground, and they had everything ready to go. But obviously, it never kind of worked out that way. But I probably wouldn't have done that. You know what I mean? Like, and Kurt reached out and offered to host us at the time when we were kind of down and out and shut down, and it just never really came together. But I always thought that was pretty nice of them.
They also have some sick motion graphics.
Oh, back to the motion graphics. Always comes back to the motion graphics.
Yeah, they got it done. C4 also, actually, based out of Canada. They were really cool. When I was ready to come back, they had wanted me to do a show, I think like a week before Hell on Earth, and I told them that I wanted to save my big comeback for AIW, and they fully respected that decision. And they still decided to keep me on for a number of dates this coming year. They're going to use Josh Bishop a lot this year. I know PME is going to works there some. So they like a lot of the AIW talent. So big shout out to C4.
Aside from AIW, my favorite indie is AIW Winchester. That's the answer.
AIXT?
All right. AIXT. All right. We'll wind this sucker down. Last chance we answer the questions for you folks. Final moments here as we go in to this week at the Winchester Wrestlerave 2, coming to you live there. You can watch it on IWTV. If you don't purchase your ticket for $20, go to shop.aiwrestling.com if you want to come watch in person. If those sell out, no guarantee that we're going to have anything available at the door, but a whole fun evening. We ran the list of matches for you. There will be glow sticks. I mean, we call it Wrestlerave, and this is one of those shows where conceptually, we get involved in the name of the show. So glowing sunglasses, glow sticks within the crowd. It's going to be a party. It's going to be a great, fun atmosphere. You need to come. You need to be there. The only way to really, truly experience it is to be there. So if you live anywhere remotely close to the Cleveland and Lakewood area, get your tickets and come on out to the Winchester this week. Otherwise, watch it on IWTV. Any other final thoughts here, gentlemen?
No, just come out and support the show this Thursday. Hopefully we don't have so many weeks off next time from the podcast. Yeah. Also, we're returning to Akron on September 26th, and tickets are flying. March 26th. March 26th. Sorry. Tickets are flying for that. So
a lot of cool stuff on that Akron card. We got Dr. D, Dave Schultz doing a very rare appearance, right, Thorne?
Yeah, super rare 2.0. A few other surprises.
Got to come get a taste.
So both the March shows. Let's pack them. I'm not going to get all doom. I'm not going to get all doom and gloom yet, but tickets are going well for March 26th. So I'm not super sad about how bad tickets are going for this Thursday. But like I said, if we could sell 50 more tickets for this Thursday, I will be extremely happy.
Yeah. Hey, look, this Winchester show, this is a great night out. So if you've come to our shows before and you've got a friend that just wants to hang out and is looking for something to do, this is one of those shows. Bring somebody new to AIW. Grab them and bring them along for the ride and have a great time all night long. And watch Big Dan Champion and Kaplan more than likely chug some beers, as we've already mentioned multiple times. And then, of course, the after party, hosted by the Rip City Shooters, Joshua Bishop and Maserati Wes Barkley. And that's going to do it here for us. So for Dominic Arini, for John Thorne, my name's Steve Guy, and we'll talk to you next week right here on The Card is Going to Change.
Got some breaking news.
Uh-oh.
Josh Bishop did not win gut check at the Arnold Sports Classic.
Oh,
shit's rigged.
He still won our hearts.
Okay, that's it.